Hello, classmates. Here we are. It is chapter 4 time. Oh boy, we're really getting to the writing part now. Today, in chapter 4, we're going to learn a lot of writing tools. It's going to be a whole slew of them. These are techniques that will help us create 21st century business documents. Oh boy. So, this particular Calvin and Hobbes cartoon, and I am a big fan of Calvin and Hobbes, definitely is not 21st century business writing. Instead, all of these are. So let's start at the top. Active passive voice. Active voice is the voice of business. Passive voice we will use when we have bad news and we need to package it nicely. More on that later. Parallel construction. If you don't know what it is, no fret, we'll get into that. Think of railroad tracks. The two rails are always moving in the same way, right? So if one part of a sentence is doing something, then the other part will do the same thing. Hold that thought. Lists. Numbered lists usually indicate at first you do this and then you do that. And bulleted lists are just to get a visual ordering. It doesn't indicate a specific order. White space. Oh boy, white space makes life so much easier. Sorry, foster cats. And we will see that white space is a very powerful tool for writing. Short sentences. Indeed, 21st century business writing, do use short sentences. 8 words or fewer is recommended. The U view, we learned about that in chapter 3, and it's always about the what's in it for me. So instead of saying I will, figure out a way to say you can. All right. And last but not least, English. Indeed, normal English. 21st business century business writing is all about normal English so that everybody can understand what we're trying to get across as quickly as possible and as painlessly as possible. Make sense so far? So we're going to get into all of these, all right? And here we go, active and passive voice. Active voice is called the voice of business because it starts out with the person or thing that is doing whatever we talk about later in the sentence. Whereas passive voice tells us who is doing the thing at the very end. It's like a tail. Sometimes it's not even mentioned. And it follows the by so-and-so, by your professor, by Lillian, by Sophie. And it always has a form of to do or to be in there. But we'll look at some examples. Here are examples. Go ahead and pause the recording here and see whether you can notice a pattern. So I hope you have paused it. And what you have seen, hopefully, is the by and then who is roaming. The by, who is changing the tire. The by, whose application is it? And by who did the painting. That is an indicator for passive voice. Whereas if we start out with who is doing the roaming, who is changing the tire, who is faxing, who is painting, that is an indication of active voice. And for business writing, it is saying who's doing it first. Next, you hopefully also have noticed that there is roamed, was changed, was faxed, was painted. Okay? Got a grip on this? Hopefully so. Remember, page 60. And this is an exercise that I want you to do right now. Write it on a piece of paper and bring it to class. Next up, parallel construction. Ooh, yeah, I tried my best here. Stole this image and then I wrote down the pattern of words. It means whatever we do on one side, we have to do on the other side. Okay, I like the idea of a scale or of the train tracks. So let's look at it. The first one is a famous quote by Caesar, Julius Caesar. Here, what makes this parallel? Training seminars must be stimulating and challenging. See how both of these are in the same format? Woo! Parallelism right there. And the same, of course, here. Came, saw, conquered. Notice past tense, past tense. Now let's look at this one. Our newly hired employee has started using the computer and to learn her coworkers' names. How can we make this parallel? Well, it turns out that we have a choice here. We can say newly hired employee has started using the computer and learning her coworkers' names, or has used the computer and to learn her coworkers' names. Make sense? So here we go. Bring to class, fix those two sentences. And white space. It's a beautiful thing as promised. Don't read, just look. And it's also on page 61. Look at those. Which one of the two would you rather read? For me, it's definitely the one on the right because it chunks the text. That's white space. Chunk it. Create space between writing. Moving on to lists. As promised, numbered lists, bulleted lists, okay, we have all those. How can we make an argument for using lists in business writing? Well, check out this paragraph versus this. Oops, I need to move me out of there. Get it? It's so much better. And what about this one? Read it. Compare it to this one. Woo! Oh boy, oh boy. It's no context. I forgot. Okay, contest. There we go. What about this one? Using paragraph headings. And compare it to this one. Yay! Love it. Absolutely love it. So this is what I'd like you to do right now, and then I'd like you to bring it to class on Monday and Tuesday, sorry. So go ahead and read this, make it into a list, what you think is best. So here is the summary for what I expect you to bring to class on Tuesday in writing, and as always, you can email it to me if you don't have the opportunity to print it. I will print it for you if I receive it before 7:30 a.m. And now on to the quiz. Ta-da! Bye!